Hello and welcome to this special edition of our cooking session. We're so excited. It's camp meeting time, and we know that we want to take some time out from the messages and the other seminars that we're listening to actually share with you some very useful and healthy meals that you can prepare in your kitchen this summer. And because it's our special camp meeting edition, we have several dishes that we're going to share with you during this hour. So we hope that you'll join us. You'll take note of the recipes and learn some new things you can add to your kitchen. So right now I'm going to introduce our chef, and you're familiar with her, Miss Juanita. How are you, Miss Juanita?
I am wonderful today. Thanks for having me.
Great. So I know we have a lot of things that we're going to prepare in this hour. So share with us the first thing that you have on the menu for us today.
Well, summertime wouldn't be summertime without a nice, big, juicy burger. So we're going to make, first of all, we're going to make an oat burger, and we'll have an optional nut additive for it.
All right, sounds good. So you guys are ready to get started with us, and we'll make sure the recipe is up there for you to follow along. And so Miss Juanita, she likes to cook out of her pot. So while she's giving instruction from the pot, I'll be putting them together in my own pot here that I have prepared. So go ahead and make your transition. All right, there's her pot. And here's my pot, so you can see my pot. And we're going to follow her instruction. So what's our first step, Miss Juanita?
This is the easiest recipe because it's what we call a dump recipe. Everything just goes in. There's one sequence, though, that you have to follow, but other than that, everything goes in. So what this recipe calls for is 4 cups of water, and you're going to boil your water, get your water on the stove boiling. Yeah. 1/3 cup of oil. It can be any type of oil, more light flavored oils like a grapeseed oil or avocado oil.
Okay, I think I tried grapeseed, okay.
Yes, that would be great. You're looking to put in 1/2 cup of nutritional yeast. Now, this is not the baking yeast. This is nutritional yeast. I'll show you what it looks like.
I have the flakes too.
So, yes, nutritional flakes. It really adds wonderful flavor. And of course, just like it says, it's nutritional.
Right.
So the next item you're going to add would be 1/2 tablespoon of sweet basil, and then 1/2 tablespoon of coriander. I put mine together, so I'm going to you'll just see me put one item in. I'll put in my oil. I'm using grapeseed oil.
Okay, I put mine in too. Okay.
Next, you'll add in the Bragg's liquid aminos and or a low sodium soy sauce.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to put in my soy sauce. So most of the seasonings are about a tablespoon or 1/2 tablespoon?
Yeah, except the sage. The flavor of the sage is really going to come out, and that's going to be 1.5 tablespoons of sage. And you'll notice why in just a minute, because the aroma is going to really, really come into play here.
Okay.
Okay. And you also want to add in 1 large onion and minced garlic, 1/8 cup of minced garlic. And don't worry about the garlic. It may seem like it's a lot, but it's going to cook down, so it won't be quite as robust as you might imagine.
Okay.
Some people are tempted to give it a little stir. You can if you want. It's not going to hurt anything.
Okay, let me get my spoon.
I'm not adding any additional sea salt. It's enough salt for me with the Bragg's liquid aminos. So I'm not going to add anything additional with that. Okay. Next, we'll add in 1/2 cup, and I've got a robust 1/2 cup of lightly roasted nuts. I chose to use pecans and almonds. I'm sorry, pecans and walnuts.
Okay. Now, if someone opts not to use that.
Yes, if you have a nut sensitivity, then by all means, you can leave it out. It's not going to hurt the burger. It's still going to have plenty of flavor.
Okay, that was my
While we're talking, I'm reaching up into my cabinet also because I've decided that I want a little kick in my burger. So I'm putting in 2 quick taps of cayenne pepper.
Ooh, I like cayenne. Let me get some too.
I just decided right on the spot. And again, as we said earlier, make the recipe yours. If there are certain things that you particularly like in your recipes, add it in. If there's something that you don't particularly care for, take it out.
Take it out. Yeah.
Yours.
Where's my cayenne? Can't find mine right now.
Now, at this point, your pot should be on a medium heat. There should be a little bit of stirring in the pot. It should be moving around a bit so that by the time we add our dry ingredients, it will be cooking. So move it from a simmer to a medium high.
Okay. More flakes in there.
Now, what I like to do is I like to put all my dry ingredients together. So I put together my quick oats, my old-fashioned oats, and I'm going to use gluten flour. This is the Vital gluten flour. And what it does, it helps to give a bit more bind to this product. The oats will give some bind, but and you don't have to use it. It's just that it'll be a softer burger. But if you like a burger that has a little more firmness to it, you can add in 1/8 of a cup of Vital gluten flour. If you want even more chew, you can add in a little bit of the TVP, the dry texture vegetable protein products that will give it still a little more chew. So those are just some ideas. I put everything, the gluten, and especially with the Vital gluten, you do not want to add it directly into the water. You want to make sure you mix it in with your oats. If you don't, you're going to end up with a great big gummy ball. So make sure that you put those in.
So if you don't have gluten flour, do you recommend just leaving the flour out or trying another flour?
No other flour yet. You can just leave it out. The quick oats, the reason you're using quick oats and old-fashioned oats is the quick oats are pre-cooked. They're going to break down quite rapidly. And if you notice with a cooked quick oat cereal, it has a mucilage texture. So that's going to give you your binding factor. Okay. So as I said, you don't have to use the Vital wheat gluten, but if you want a burger that has a little more binding power, you can do that. I want to add also at this point too, this burger is not a burger that can be cooked in gravy or any type of liquid. If you want gravy with this, you'll have to spoon it on as you're plating, because if not, it's going to break apart. It will cook down. Okay. So I don't know if you can see, but I'm starting to get some movement, some bubbles around the side. So we're getting, you really want to make sure you get the temperature up. And I don't know if the aroma's coming up yet for you.
Yes, I was smelling. It smells so good.
It does. And it tastes just as good. Okay. So
how much of the oats, Miss Juanita, how much of the oats did you put in again? I just want to make sure.
I put in 1 cup of the quick oats, 2 cups of the old-fashioned. Both of these are rolled oats. And in mine, I'm also adding the Vital wheat gluten. So what I've done is I've stirred all of that product together. So this is really an oat-based burger. I see. This will be an oat burger, exactly. Okay. So I'm going to stir in now my oats. I've combined both the old-fashioned and the and I've also added in the gluten. You're going to leave your flame up. You're going to stir everything together. You're going to watch it to see it come up to the boil again, and leave it to boil about a minute. It doesn't have to boil very long. You just want to make sure you stir everything together so that you don't have any clumps of the oats. And again, as I said, you can make this recipe yours. If you have other vegetables and things that you think you might want to put into it, peppers, or if you don't like garlic, you can leave it out. So as you can see, this has come to the boil.
Yes, mine is too.
Boiling about a minute. So now turn it off.
Turn
Put your lid on. Move it away from the heat. You're going to let that sit until it's warm enough to handle. Probably it'll take about half an hour to 45 minutes before you'll be able to handle that.
Okay.
But with the miracle of TV, I'm going to just move over just a bit, and I have some product already prepared. I'm going to show you how you want to shape your burgers.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's get a close-up of that.
Okay, you can tell I've been dipping in it already because I have some burgers
You're allowed.
So just to have some product ready for you to see. I'm going to use Pam No Stick cooking spray. It's an avocado. Here we go. It's an avocado spray. I have a non-stick pan, but I'm just going to spray it just a little bit, just to make sure that the burgers don't stick. Doesn't have to be a lot at all, just a teeny little bit. You want to, my best shaping tool is to use an ice cream scoop. I'm going to make two sizes of burgers. We're going to make some sliders, which are the small burgers, and then we're also going to make some regular sized burgers. So you want to take a full scoop of the burger mix.
Now, Miss Juanita, can you slide your camera over a little bit to the right so we can? There you go. Yeah, now we can see a little better.
Okay. Okay. So what we're going to do, you need to have a bowl with some water in it.
Oh.
And you want to put just a little bit of water in your hand. And you'll scoop the mixture into your hand. And I go back in again just to make sure both of my hands are moist.
Okay.
And that you're going to get nice uniform burgers. And you want to make sure that you shape them nicely. And thinking I need to zoom back so they can see.
See it on the pan?
Yes.
And so you make two sizes, slider size and then the regular. And
then a regular size also. What I like to do also is I like my burgers a bit on the thin side. They crisp up really nicely on the edges, and that crisping gives more flavor. So, I mean, you can make a fairly thick burger, but as I said, I would rather have two thin burgers on my sandwich than to have one thick one. Because again, the edges will crisp up, the nuts will form on some of them will be on the top, and they'll get just a little more toasty, and that will build even more flavor into the burger.
Right. So how many burgers does this recipe yield?
I said 15, but I'm looking, and believe it or not, I've already made I've made 6 sliders and 4 regular size burgers out of this recipe, and I still have enough. So I'm going to say that this is going to make, I reduced another recipe because usually when I make it, I make large quantities. But I'm going to say ultimately you'll end up with about 25 burgers.
Oh, this is great.
Yeah, and they freeze wonderfully. So all you have to do is just put them, put a little piece of wax paper between them, a little square wax paper between them, put them in the freezer, and you can easily pull them out. And the way I normally heat them up is in my tabletop convection oven.
Okay.
And they're good to go.
Now, you did say we should not add gravy to this type of burger. This is more designed for a bun.
Yes, you can eat it as a protein on your plate, but you just need to put the gravy on once you have it on your plate.
Okay.
Because, it won't cook. Like sometimes people take a burger and try to get flavor into it by putting it into a gravy. It will not do well then in that way.
Okay.
Okay. So here I am. I'm working on a larger burger. And you just want to keep your hands moist.
Yeah, it's really holding together very well. That's one of the things I like about.
Now, I don't normally let my mixture get this cool. And so it's a little stiffer than it would normally be. I'm going to add just a little bit of water, just a little bit of water in, and you'll just want to mix that in without losing it.
Okay. And so pretty much you're just letting the mixture sit until it gets cool. It doesn't need
cool enough to handle. Yeah, this particular mixture has cooled to room temperature.
Okay.
And I don't usually let it get that cool. As I said, it's kind of thick, and it's not pressing down as thinly as I would like it to. So I just put a little more water in just to get it a little softer, a little looser. Okay. So that takes care of that. We'll end there, and you're going to put it in the oven. You're going to bake it at 375 in the oven.
375.
For about 15 minutes. You're going to watch it. It'll brown up really beautifully. And then after the first side browns, you'll want to turn it over and then just let the other side brown. Less time for the second side to brown. And if you'll just give me a moment, I'll show you what they look like.
Oh, okay. We always are excited for that. And while you're doing that, I'm going to show the viewers what my mixture looks like. It still needs to cool, but here we go. All of my seasonings and my oatmeal here. I'm seeing it's starting to thicken. Now, my daughters have nut allergies, so I opted not to include the nuts. But they are big burger fans, so I'm hoping this is something that I can make at home. Now, how does it work on the grill?
That's a good question. I would believe so. I would probably make sure that the grill has really close grates, so that it can stay flat, because it's a soft burger. Again, it doesn't have a lot of heavy bind to it.
Okay.
So, so that's what I would do. Or I'll tell you what I would use. I would use let me just show you.
Okay.
This is a grill, so you can see it has holes in it, so the flavor would come up, but it also is close. So that's something that I would use to cook them on.
On the grill. Okay. Great option for summer grilling. So we like that.
Okay. So here are some burgers that are done. You'll see the larger burgers, and then some of the smaller sliders. When I do my the larger burgers, again, I do them thin, and I will put a burger down, slice of some Daiya cheese, and then the second burger down.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you one other option. I'm not going to put a sandwich together, but I'm going to show you another option, and then we'll make this product in just a minute. But I'm going to show you those roasted tomatoes, because that's the oven roasted tomatoes. That's why I did it with this particular series, because on this burger, they are to die for. I'm going to show you what they look like.
Great. Ooh.
These are plum tomatoes. They've been sliced. They have fresh garlic, a little bit of olive oil, and they've been oven roasted for about 4 hours. And they get very spicy too. And a couple of these on this sandwich just makes it something totally brand new.
Burgers look good though. Can you give us a close-up of the burger? Is it possible to put one to the camera so we can see the texture a little bit? Yeah. Okay. Nice. So this is our oat nut burger recipe.
Yes.
All right, everyone. So you saw the oat nut burger recipe. We'll have it up there for you to see all of the ingredients and the instructions for yourself. And we hope that you will try it. Let us know how you put it together. But we're going to take a brief break, and we'll be right back with our next item. All right, so stay tuned. are back, and as you heard earlier, this is our camp meeting cooking special. We just finished making the oat nut burger, the first part of the program, and we saw Miss Juanita showed us just before the commercial break some oven roasted tomatoes. And so we really quickly, we want to show you how to do that so you can either have it as a side or on your burger. So Miss Juanita, let's see what we have set up here now.
Okay, the recipe calls for plum tomatoes, and it says 3 pounds. It's going to make about 30 halves because you're half your plum tomatoes. It calls for 1/4 cup of extra virgin olive oil, 1 tablespoon of finely chopped thyme, and 3 garlic cloves minced or finely chopped. So what you're going to do is you're going to move this out of the way. You're going to slice the tips off of your tomatoes, and then you'll just slice them in half. Put them face up on a baking sheet, or as you can see, I have a little pan. And these freeze well also. So I'm a big proponent of prepping. And this is something that I would prep and freeze, and then you can have it several times without having to go through the trouble of baking it. The process of preparing it is not too much, but it does take a while for the tomatoes to dry out as they're baking. So again, I'm just cutting them in half. There are those who will take the centers out of the tomatoes. They'll take the seeds out. De-seed them. I don't, because it loses some of its juiciness. I'll show you a picture of the product again, and I'll show you the ones without the seeds, and I'll show you how different they look. So you can see I've halved them. Again, I'm going to use the cooking spray with the avocado oil, and we're just going to lightly tap each one of the halves. That one turn a little crooked. Okay, and I'm going to take some finely minced garlic, and just a little bit. You're going to spread it over each of the tomato halves.
Now, did you mince that garlic yourself?
And you know I did. The reason I said that to Latasha is we talked earlier in the year about prepping, and this is one of the things that I continue to keep in my refrigerator. In fact, I got really a little excessive because this is my jar of finely minced garlic, and then I have a jar of garlic that's a little rougher chopped, depending on what I want to do. Mm-hmm. So.
And garlic goes in so many recipes. It's great to already have it ready to go.
And it keeps a good while. That's the other thing. There's something else that you can do, especially if you want it to keep, and that is just to pour olive oil over it. So you can put it in a jar. I have it in a jar, and you can notice I have this one says fine. This is my finely chopped one. If I felt like I wasn't going to use it within a week, or week and a half to 2 weeks, probably would be tops. What I would do is I would just pour olive oil over this, and then I would use the olive oil as an infused oil for maybe sauteing string beans or broccoli or something of that type. So this makes
good idea.
Yeah, it really does make a lot of sense. You can expand with it. Sometimes just because I have it prepared, this peppers, onions, I use jicama and chayote, which are nice vegetables, to add to other vegetables to give them texture. You start to get creative because you already have them prepared, and it helps to expand what you're cooking. So your family thinks that you're coming up with something new and different, when maybe you're not. It's just, just an added one added item to it, but it makes it brand new. It makes it different. Okay, and that's all. So what you'll do is you will put these in the oven, and you're going to leave them on. It says to leave it cooked at 375. That should say 275. I'll make that correction for you, but it's preheat the oven to 275. And then you're going to lay your tomatoes out, spray them with the olive oil, put a little bit of garlic on top or any other seasoning that you may like. I did not put the thyme on, so you can just sprinkle lightly with thyme. And one of the things that I'm just so surprised about this process is that when you taste these tomatoes, you're going to think that there was a little bit of spice that went into it, and it's not. For some reason, the concentrating of the tomatoes make them just a little bit spicy, and that is just such a nice flavor. Brings a nice new element to the burger. Okay.
Delicious. Mm-hmm.
All right. So this goes in the oven, and again, you'll want to let these cook until they really start to dry up. I have a tabletop convection oven, and I had them in there for about 2 hours before they started to dry up and kind of crust over. But use your oven to the temperature that works well for you. Let me show you those tomatoes again.
Yes.
Here they are.
Mmm.
And as I said, they're soft and pliable, and inside they're nice and juicy. So they are a delicious treat for me. That most times I will have them with a burger or have them with a salad. These are the tomatoes that were de-seeded, and as you can see, they're kind of they're kind of dried up. I didn't care for that. I wanted to try somebody else's recipe. I saw it online, and I said, "Oh, let me try it." It was by one of a highly recognized chefs, one of the cooking programs. And I said, "Well, let me try her recipe," and I like mine better.
So, stick with what you know, they say sometimes.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. There's just no right or wrong way. It's not that hers is wrong and mine's right. I just happen to like it with a bit of moisture to it. Okay, so that is the oven roasted tomato.
Remind us again, how long were they in the oven? At 275?
At 275, I had mine in for 2 hours, and this is in a convection oven. So what it's doing is drying it out. You'll want to watch it. I would say after, depending on the type of oven you use, you'll want to watch it to see them dry out. But this is what you want them to look like. You want them to, the moisture to come out of them pretty much so. And they still have some thickness. I don't know if you can see, they still have some thickness to it. And they're juicy. But they're not, they won't wet down your sandwich is what it is.
Gotcha. Yeah, and it adds an extra burst of flavor to
it does.
Flavorful burger. So that's great.
Yes, it does.
Great.
Okay.
Thank you for that. All right, everyone. You see how you can make your own oven roasted tomatoes, either something you can have on the side or with your burger. And so we hope you'll try that one as well. We're going to take another quick break, and then we're going to come back to make one of my favorite things, which is desserts. I mean, I love desserts. I don't know how many of you also love desserts, but it's always good to learn a healthier way to make some of the things that you love. So after this commercial break, we'll be back with our dessert. Stay tuned.
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
All right, welcome back, everyone, to our special Camp Meeting cooking episode. We're so happy that you joined us. We've already cooked some oat nut burgers. We saw how to make some dry roasted tomatoes right out of your oven. And now we're about to try a delicious dessert. So I'm going to invite Miss Juanita to come back with us. And please share with us what we're about to make now.
What we're about to make now is lemon pie filling. And it is more than just lemon pie filling. You can use it in a crust We're going to use it today in a nut date crust, but you also can use it as topping on ice cream or some other types of desserts. So I want you to get creative with this product. It is light. It has a tremendous burst of flavor, and it has a lot of versatility. So the ingredients that we'll need for this product is 3 cups of pineapple juice, unsweetened. And if you pour your pineapple juice in, then just pour in your, afterwards, pour in your cornstarch, because you want to dissolve your cornstarch before you actually start to heat. So your pan, the pan would not be on. You want it room temperature. And you just want to mix your, and I also put my salt in with the dry product. That's something you'll want to do too with your recipes, is try to incorporate all your dry products together and all of your wet products together when you have dump recipes. It makes it a lot easier.
Yeah. Seems like it prevents the clumps, right?
Yes, it helps to prevent the clumps, because if you were to put cornstarch into a hot liquid, it's going to start to coagulate right away, and it'll be very difficult for you to get those lumps out of it afterwards. So you're also going to add, and this really is a dump recipe, you're just going to go along with the quantities. You'll add 3 tablespoons of fresh lemon juice, and trust me, it makes a difference. So if you don't have fresh lemon juice, you can use reconstituted lemon juice, but don't blame me and say, you know what, she said it was going to be so good, and it's just kind of, all right, it's okay. What I did also is I put my lemon zest right into the lemon juice. So you just want to hit your zester just a few times. You don't want to overpower the lemon flavor. So just a pinch of lemon zest, and that's going to bring up that flavor also. Next, you're going to put 1 tablespoon of lemon oil. It says lemon oil. It could be lemon extract, or if you have emulsion, if you can get your hands on some emulsions, again, that adds another level of flavor that you just would not believe.
And I love the lemon flavor, so.
Yeah, I've had people say, I make lemon pie, and my lemon pie doesn't taste like that. And I'm like, oh, I know. Because they're not putting that lemon emulsion in there. As I said, I put my salt in when I put in my
cornstarch.
Cornstarch, exactly. You'll want to add 2 tablespoons. Now, before you add in your grapeseed oil, measure your 2 tablespoons of grapeseed oil into a bowl. And then what you'll want to do is you will want to put your honey in the container behind it, and that way your honey won't stick to the bowl or glass that you're using.
That's a smart idea.
Yes,
I'm going to get mine now.
So I have 2 teaspoons of grapeseed oil I'm using. Grapeseed, again, is a great oil, and it has a very light flavor, so it won't disturb the other delicate flavors of this filling. You'll add that into your I don't know if your lemon is beginning to pick up, but mine is.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is.
And the last item you're going to add in is your orange juice concentrate. And you're going to stir all that around. And what you want to do is you want to turn your fire on medium now. Now that everything's in, and you want to start to begin to stir, you want to definitely mix your honey. Start to get that dissolving, and your cornstarch. So you want to start it, and you want to do it fairly high, not the highest temperature, because you want to bring it up. And then you're going to stir it for this first minute or so, just to make sure that everything stays combined nicely.
Okay. So we're putting this on a medium temperature, or
I have mine on medium high.
Okay.
And that's just to really get it heated. We're going to turn it down in just a minute.
Okay.
And you'll start to feel it as it thickens. And you want to make sure you really get down in the corners of your pot to keep moving that product around. because that cornstarch will have a tendency to settle if you don't keep moving it around.
Right. There we go. A bit more lemon here.
Someone's picking up the aromas.
No, that's a little bit of pathfinding going on. Must be an exciting class.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Okay. So this is good. Now, what I like about this recipe, you said that it offers some versatility. So we're going to be using in like mini little lemon desserts, but I love the fact that it can also go on top of ice cream,
Pancakes and waffles.
Woo!
Yes.
Okay.
So there's a lot of versatility to this. As I said, it's very light, and you can just eat it, just spoon it into a dish, and just eat it by itself. It's nice and light.
I forgot my concentrate. Let me add a concentrate.
Now today we are going to utilize a recipe that makes a nut date crust, and that's the way we're going to the variation we'll use today. If you were going to use a regular pie crust, what you would want to do is either make your pie crust or buy a frozen pie crust, and you would want to pre-cook it. So you'll prick your pie crust with a fork. If you have the beads that helps to keep the crust from bubbling up, you'll use that, and you'll just lightly brown your product.
Okay.
And then once your product is cool, once the filling is cool, you'll want to pour it into your crust.
Okay.
If everyone has a different touch, a different hand, some people their product will be just a little bit looser. Someone else's product is going to be a little bit thicker. If your product is not, it gets too thick as it cools, you can always put it back into the blender and put it into a blender and just blend it again, and that'll make it nice and smooth. It'll take the thickness out of it.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, because sometimes you put it in the refrigerator and it really chills, and then the next day you go to use it and it's kind of like a Jell-O, and you don't want it that way. You want it more smooth. So all you do is just put it back in a blender, blend it up, and it's good as new. Okay, I don't know if you can see, but it's starting to bubble up on the edges. It's starting to thicken. You want to make sure that you really cook your cornstarch, cook the starchy flavor out of the cornstarch to make sure. So once it starts to even bubble on the edges, you want to let it go another minute. Okay. Make sure it is clearish looking all the way through. Of course, because it's yellow, it's not going to be totally clear, but it won't look starchy. It won't have a white cast to it. Mine is bubbling all around the edges now, and I can see there's a translucence to it.
Yes, mine too.
Okay. So we'll let this go for another 30 seconds or so.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to see if your consistency is like mine.
You want it? Yeah. It's going to be a little bit loose, but as it cools, it's going to thicken. Okay. If it really pours quite thick, then you'll want to add just a little bit more liquid. But this texture right here is just about perfect, so that by the time it cools off, I'll show you what it'll look like in just a minute as we begin to build our little mini pies.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I had a seed in mine. I just took it out and tasted a little bit of
okay. And if it's too tart, then you'll want to add a little bit more of sweetener. You may want to thin down by adding some more liquid to it. and cornstarch, another teaspoon or two of cornstarch, and just a teeny little bit of fluid, either orange juice or. So I've taken this off the fire, and it's left to cool. That takes care of that.
And we're cooling it for how long? Or just doesn't matter?
Yes, it has to. You definitely need to get it to room temperature.
Okay.
Because if you put it in too warm into your pie crust, what you're going to be left, it's going to get soggy. Your pie will get soggy.
Okay. You don't want that at all.
No, not at all.
I'm just going to show the viewers what mine looks like.
Yeah.
And it smells heavenly.
Latasha, have we had some really easy dump recipes?
That's always my favorite.
They're easy, delicious, and that's what counts. No one wants to be stuck in the kitchen cooking all the time. You want to make something that you enjoy, your family enjoys, but also you want to do something that's very healthy for them. And I want to bring us back to the topic that we started with also. We wanted to look at how to eat healthy to keep our immune system strong.
Right.
And I've selected recipes with that in mind. The crust that we're about to make, this nut date crust, tops in terms of providing good protein for good fats. You have oats in there, grains and everything that are actually good with antioxidants. So it's a wonderful, healthy treat. And if you don't tell your children it's healthy, they'll enjoy it even more.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, so I'm showing you a picture of the nut date crust. And what I've done, instead of putting it in a large pie plate, I have taken it and put it in a mini pan, and so that these will be about a 2-bite dessert. Each one is about 2 bites. And the other thing is that especially when you're serving it to children, you give them 2 instead of 1, and they feel like they've had a whole lot, but it still won't be as much as a slice of pie.
Gotcha. We love those little tricks.
Yes, absolutely. So we're going to transition now, and we're going to make our nut date pie crust. I'm going to pull out my food processor and just...
Now, I'm one of those who has not yet invested in a food processor.
Okay.
That's my option.
Yes. And again, this particular recipe, as I said before, it does call for nuts. And I know you said that you won't be able to provide this particular type of dessert, but you also can use just plain pie crust, you know?
I eat nuts. Don't let you know. I eat nuts, so I'll be eating it.
You don't want to tempt the little ones though, because they'll see you enjoying it, and they'll think that
some of the filling.
That just this one time they can maybe taste a little bit, and we don't want them to have any incidents. I want to talk to you as we're about to make this product. Many people don't use their food processor or don't buy one because they can't put it together. There's a science to food processors, and what you want to do with a food processor is you'll want to make sure every food processor has a pin in the jar, and that pin needs to sit over the hole that's in the base. So you'll make sure that when you put it on and you snug it up, that pin is going to fit over the hole. And now on your lid has a lever someplace on it that's going to push this pin down into the base and activate it. Other than that, your food processor will not work. It's a safety feature. So people don't put their hands down into the jar and have that very razor sharp blade injure them. So there's a reason for it. So as long as you line up the pin in the jar with the hole in the base and the lever on the top, you'll have success. Okay. So are you ready? Are you ready?
I'm ready. Let's see.
Great. Okay. So this recipe calls for 1 cup of coconut, shredded coconut. And again, it's a dump recipe, so all you'll want to do is just put everything in your blender. I'm sorry, in your food processor. A blender is not going to work for this product because a blender, the blades turn too fast. The RPMs are too high, and it won't grab the food and really work it as it's going around. So you'll end up with a very mealy product, an over-processed product. This is why they call this a food processor, because it can temper the food in different ways. It can grind it up fine, or it can leave it in a chunky state. And we want to leave it just in a little bit of a chunky state today. So 1 cup of coconut, 1 cup of almonds, lightly toasted, and 1/2 cup of walnuts, lightly toasted. I didn't have any walnuts, but I did have pecans. So that's my nuts. Those are my nuts. Almonds and pecans, lightly toasted. Brings out a beautiful, beautiful flavor. You're going to add 1/2 cup of old-fashioned rolled oats, 1.5 cups of medjool dates, and these are the big, fat, sweet dates.
Yeah.
They're juicy, they're soft and nice, and you'll want to make sure, though, that you take the seeds out. Most of them don't come pitted because of the cost, really.
These are really expensive. I didn't realize how pricey these dates were. Okay.
The dates?
Yeah. That
Yeah.
particular kind of date, yeah.
But they're so delicious. And you know, a wonderful dessert also, if you want just a little something, is to take one of these medjool dates and take a couple of these of nuts, the almonds or pecans, and just roll it up in the date and eat it. So good, so healthy. You have fiber in your date. You're getting some sweetness, and you're getting the good fats in your nuts and other nutrients.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, I know you said, going back to not using the blender, I know we can't use the blender,
Yeah.
but for someone like me who doesn't have a food processor, which I definitely need to get,
Yeah.
would a NutriBullet also not work?
I think it might be too fast, but let's experiment. Do you have one of those? What do they used to call the choppers? The ones that you just kind of bang down on. They're so old, but that would work well too. Yeah.
Try it.
Yeah. Let's see, because you'll inform me.
Okay. Now you're putting the spice. Did you get to the cinnamon yet?
The cinnamon is next.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. Cinnamon. Okay, here we go. Half a teaspoon. Yep.
And I can't just do anything the way the recipe calls for it. So I added just a hit of coriander and nutmeg to mine.
Ooh, I'm doing the same.
Yes. I was feeling, a little something extra.
All right, here's some nutmeg. I like those flavors together, so.
Mm-hmm.
Good. Coriander. Nice. That's right.
Okay, then what you'll want to do is you'll want to add your vanilla also at this time.
Okay.
I'm going to drizzle mine through the chute.
Okay. I love vanilla, so this is going to be good.
Mm-hmm. Boy, here we go.
Okay, and I'm going to put the top on mine.
Okay, I'm going to use the pulse setting on my food processor because, again, I don't want to over process it. And I'll show you what texture I'm looking for when we're done. Okay?
Okay. All
so
right.
we can go silent now because it's going to be a lot of noise.
Yep, on both ends. So let's see.
Okay.
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 Not bad.
Okay, good, good.
This is what mine looks like.
Okay, that's great. That's great. So as you can see, there's some good texture here. Something still to chew on.
Mm-hmm. I can see the dates really kind of help it stay together, huh?
Exactly. That's just what's going to happen.
And it smells great.
Doesn't it? With this product, also, you can, if you have some extra, you can always put it in a Ziploc bag and freeze it.
Okay.
Okay. So next, what we're going to do is we're going to put together, make little, a little crust.
Okay.
I'm going to use a silicone pan this time. I used a hard one, and it's a little delicate to try to get the crust out of there. But with the silicone, because it's soft, you can just probably pop them out very easily.
Right.
So again, you want to have if you have a very small ice cream scooper, that works fine, or a big spoon with a deep bowl.
Got my scooper here. Well, I'm glad to see that my NutriBullet didn't disappoint because I really wanted to make this recipe.
I mean, you could just do it the way they were doing it before any of this and just chop it.
This was much quicker.
Yeah, get a good chef's knife, and in about 5 minutes, you would have the same product.
Okay. Now, you're using silicone, so you're not putting anything in the actual pan first.
There is some oil already in it. You know what? You bring up a good point, because the other pan I used was non-stick. So just to be on the safe side, let's just spray it with a little bit of oil.
Okay.
Yeah, I have the avocado oil. If you have grapeseed oil, that's fine. If you don't have a sprayer, then you can just take a piece of towel paper, pour a little bit on towel paper, and just lightly wipe the inside of each bowl. Don't need a lot of oil, just enough to help it release.
Okay.
Now, with the recipe I have, the one I did already, it's raw. It's a raw crust, but this one I'm going to cook it because I'm interested to see how it is cooked.
Okay.
So I'm going to cook that, but raw, it is delicious, absolutely delicious.
Okay. I'll do some cooked, some ramen. Okay.
Exactly. So I knew how it tastes raw, but I said, I wonder what'll happen.
Okay.
Now for the raw crust, what you'll need to do though is you'll need to once you put these in the pan, you want to put it in and take the spoon and really press it down.
Is it okay to use your fingers?
Do you use your fingers when you cook for your family? Of course we do. Of course we do. That's where the love is.
Okay. just love the consistency of this.
It's really beautiful. It's very, and it reminds me of the best granola bar that I've ever tasted.
Yeah.
I'm just, now that you said that, let me just taste it. Okay. Wow. Isn't it yum? Really good. It's not sweet. No, it's not. But the nuts, and I toasted the nuts also. That was the only thing. It's not 100% raw because I did toast the nuts. And that brought a totally different flavor. I've had it, totally raw. And that was good. But just toasting the pecan and the almonds, just that little bit, brought a new flavor. Absolutely. Very, very nice. So you all can see what I'm doing here. I'm just working the crust into the oven pan. And once you get it in, then you'll want to create a well. Right, okay. So maybe you can go in there, yes. You may need to dampen your finger just a tad to keep your product from sticking. Okay. And I press it so that it comes up the sides too, so you really can get a nice little dollop of your product. And you want to make sure that when you're pressing it, that you're making sure that it's going to stick together. So put a little bit of pressure on it. Mm-hmm. And press it up against the wall of the tin. Okay. Now this crust also can make some very lovely desserts. Another product that I would try is strawberries and dates. Really? I use them instead of maple syrup or syrup for pancakes and waffles. Mm-hmm. And it would be really good in this. The only thing I would not do is I would prepare it right before it's being served. Gotcha. Okay. And ideally, you'll want this to set up in the refrigerator. That's going to be doing it raw, right? Right, you want it to set up. But I went ahead and made some filling earlier, and I said I would show you the texture that you want it to be. And as you can see, it kind of drops. Right, let's get a close-up of that, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good, okay. Yeah, that's the way you want it. And again, the smell is absolutely delicious. So, you'll just want to, I'm not going to fill all of them. Now, how long did you recommend refrigerating the raw crust? The raw crust, I did it overnight. Probably it would cool in about 2 hours, I would believe. Okay. I would believe so. And you can always dress this up a bit more. For the size of the ones that you're making, Latasha, also, I think what I would do is I would make a little bit of cashew cream. Ooh. On top or whipped cream, just to make it extra special for a special Sabbath lunch dessert. Okay. That would eat well, I believe. Now, you mentioned the option of baking the crust. If I were to bake mine, which I think I'm going to do, how long would you recommend? I would recommend doing it at 325, between 325 and 350. And if it's a convection oven, it's going to cook faster. So you're using a regular size muffin tin, are you? Yes, yeah, the small size, yeah. Small muffin. Okay, yeah, then that's a regular size one. I would try at 15 minutes and start to look at it from then and see if you start to see a little bit of browning around the edge. You really don't want it to brown too much. Okay. I'll just do that while you're talking. All right. Yeah, so I'm going to do another taste test. Okay. I did one already. You see that missing one right there? But I'm going to do it again. And as I said, this is 2 bites of goodness.
So as you can see, we just prepared 2 great recipes, the lemon filling as well as the date and nut crust, both offering you so much versatility in your kitchen for summer desserts. So we'll take a quick break and then we'll be back with another very easy, very healthy dessert that you can make for your family. More of like a refresher. If you love Rita's water ice, you're going to want to see this. So come back with us after this break and check that out as well.
Today I'm going to talk to you about physics. Come on in, girls. Let's go. This is the first rocket to get humans to Mars.
Really tall.
I'm a rocket structural engineer, designing and building parts of the rocket. You are the generation that will be stepping foot on Mars. Do I have a group of astronauts on my hands?
Yes.
You can become a rocket scientist or whatever else you want to be.
As you can see, we both have our blenders up here. So this treat involves a blender. Can you tell us what we're making, Miss Juanita?
Well, I'm going to be a little vain, and I'm going to tell you that the name of it is Better Than Rita's Fruit Ices. That's the way I feel about it.
Okay.
So And the reason I say it is there's so much good whole fruit in this recipe. No sugar at all. We do have some fruit sweeteners, but no sugar. And I think for that reason, it tops the other commercial brand. Plus, it doesn't cost a lot.
Okay, we always love that.
Okay. So this again is a recipe that really lends itself to your own imagination. Today, I'm going to make a tropical icy. And Latasha, what type of icy are you going to make?
I'm going to try strawberry banana.
Okay. So, and again, your imagination only limits what you can do. At the bottom of the recipe, there's some ideas. There's a berry recipe that uses strawberries and blueberries and raspberries, which is absolutely delicious. Peach melba, which is peaches and strawberry. And also peach mango, which is what I'm going to do today. Peaches, mango, and pineapple. Pina colada would be coconut and pineapple. And then you can do a lemon limeade. Those are some of the ideas that I have. Your imagination can run wild with other flavors that you know to go well. This is a 3-ingredient recipe. You just need fruit, ice, and some concentrate. That's all. So what we're going to do, but this recipe, there is an order to it. You want to put your liquid items in, your concentrate in first. So I'm going to put a real big heaping spoonful of my mango concentrate.
Oh, you have a mango concentrate. I have orange, so it's going to kind of be orange, strawberry, banana. Okay.
That's fine. And I'm going to put a large spoonful also of my peach concentrate.
Okay.
And now I'm going to add in the fruit and approximately 3 cups of fruit. There's no hard science to this recipe.
Okay.
You can add more or less depending on what you want. Fresh peaches, fresh pineapple, and fresh mango that I'm adding. And the mango is really ripe, so the sweetness is developed. The pineapple, all of them, even the peaches, they're in season now. And so I'm adding those in also. And we're going to add approximately 3 cups of ice.
And you froze those overnight, correct?
No, I didn't. I froze the fruit for about 2 hours. And what it does, it helps the product not to liquefy, to become too runny.
Right,
when it's cold and frozen. But it's not absolutely necessary because most times you'll go back and freeze this product again once it's made. But if you have your fruit frozen, in fact, one of the things I was thinking too, a real quick way to do it is to buy the packages of frozen fruit. They have so many varieties out there.
Yes.
So that'll help also. And you can always add more or less ice depending on how sweet or non-sweet you would like it. Okay? You may have to work this just a tad in order to get the ice incorporated in the product. So if it doesn't mix in totally the first time, you can always stop your machine, scrape it down, get some of the more liquidy part down into those blades, or you can even add a little bit of water. Okay? So now we get noisy, so I'll stop talking.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna start out by pulsing mine. But if you have a real good, strong, like a Vitamix, that will just take it on from the very beginning. But I'm gonna start pulsing. Mine is not quite as strong as a Vitamix. Okay? Okay, and as I said, if you have a little bit of difficulties, I had one little piece of ice that just kept jumping around, bouncing around on the top. So what I did was I just pushed it down in there, and I'll run it again.
Now, you know, we can't see what you're doing. We just see your back.
I'm so sorry. Okay, so what I did was
I'm sorry.
I stirred down the product. As I said, I had a cube of ice that was just bouncing around on the top. So I kind of pushed it down into the mixture, and I'm going to process it a bit again.
Me too. Okay, here we go.
Okay.
My blender needs a little work, I think. It's getting there, though.
You may need to break it in half, process half, and then process half again.
Okay. Let's see if this works. Stirring it up a little bit. Let's see if that works. The thing we can do a fast forward of the blending process.
I had just about a cup of fruit left over, so I'm just going to process that. I'm going to put another teaspoon of the concentrates in.
Okay.
I don't even know if I'll add more ice. I might. I'll taste test it and see.
Okay, now, what kind of consistency are we looking for?
Slush. You're looking for, I'm going to show you right now. Now, straight out of the blender, you're looking for a slushy texture.
Okay. Here's my texture. Okay.
Okay. So you can see how it's mounding still. It's cold enough that it's mounding still. It's not, totally falling flat. And I'll pick some up for you to let you see. Now, what I like to do is I like to leave some flecks in mine too. So you'll see some of the flecks from the peaches. I didn't peel the peaches because you don't want to get rid of that fiber. The nutrients, a lot of the nutrients lie right below the skin of vegetables and fruit. So you don't want, if you can eat the skin for a fruit product or a vegetable, you'll want to do that. So what I've done is I've left it on. I'm going to go and turn off my tomatoes.
Oh. Time is up. I like what I'm seeing. I'm about to get a little cup so I can test it out.
Say it again.
I said I like the consistency that I'm seeing in mine. I'm going to get a little cup to test it out right now.
Yes, yes. And you tell, no, I'm not going to get you in trouble. with my marketing, my branding.
Yeah, I have to tell this is better than Rita's, and I am a Rita's fan. So
are you? Yeah, I'm looking at yours. It's looking wonderful. Yes.
Just trying to make it.
Now mine's not quite as icy as yours, so I'll put this in the put it in a container, put it in the freezer, and then come back about an hour and kind of stir it again.
Oh wow.
Is it worth it?
It's really, I just licked the outside of the glass. Let me see what.
Yes. Yes.
Wow.
It's really, really.
That makes me wonder why I haven't been doing this all along.
Now you know. This is.
This definitely gets 2 thumbs up. It's a plus.
Yes.
It's so easy, as you saw, through just 3 ingredients.
Yes. Yes.
And it's so refreshing.
It really is. It's wonderful, and you can make a nice container of it and keep it in the freezer. So when you have that urge to go to Rita's, and again, all the lemonades and the limeades, you can use any of those flavors, whatever flavor it is. Watermelon, so many different flavors you can make.
I'm definitely making this. And I think I'll share some with my family. The girls will like it, even my husband.
I think they will find you out.
This is great.
I believe they would.
Well, Miss Juanita, if you can show your face, because we just have to thank you, because you've given us so many great recipes that we can add to our kitchen. And we want to say thank you.
Well, you are so welcome.
And we love the fact that they're easy, that they're healthy for us, and they offer so much versatility. I love that. I mean,
yes, and they're healthy. That's the thing that's most important to me, is that food tastes good, look good, but that it's good for you. That's the most important of all things, is that it's good for you. So it's been fun. I like being in the kitchen. I become a mad scientist when I get in the kitchen.
Well, if this is the product, the things that we made today, then it's all worth it. We love
it. It is. Someone's sitting in the wings.
Waiting. Yeah, that's all right, Dr. Jones. We understand. It's time to time to read what has been.
Yes. He'll be asking questions. Well, what is this and what's that? So.
Okay. Well, thanks again. We'd like to thank you for everything that you shared. We're going to share all the recipes one more time for those who may have come on late, and you can always watch this back and get all of the details. But thanks, Ms. Juanita. We appreciate what you shared in the special camp meeting edition of our cooking segment. So thank you so much.
You're very welcome. It's been my pleasure.
All right. And we thank you guys for tuning in. Until next time, we'll see you later.
Bless the Lord, everybody. Welcome again to the Allegheny East Conference virtual camp meeting. They come from the east and west. They come from the north and south, all